Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to JOECMDRAWZ. Welcome back to a new video. In this new video, we're going to be looking at the newest character to join the Goldlock Pirates, Cheddar the Mouse Mink. I'm going to take you through my entire process from beginning to end, as well as showcase a special character as well. So get a drink, sit down, and get comfortable as we're going to be learning about Cheddar the Mouse Mink. Let's get into it. Okay, so to kick things off here, here are some of my very early concept sketches or designs for the idea of Cheddar. See, she wasn't even initially a mouse slash rat mink really. What I wanted her to be was one of those hairless sphinx cats. I thought it might be a really interesting angle for at least the character's backstory. Of being her like a hairless mink, as I know that the minks actually have a name for humans. What was it, like hairless monkeys or something like that, or hairless minks, something like that. If anybody can remember, let me know in the comments of what the minks actually call the humans. But I thought it'd be an interesting angle for a mink character that is completely hairless, and I thought it'd be interesting, a cat mink that has no hair. An interesting character point that I could make that could influence her decisions in the world. But yeah, these are some of the initial sketches. Again, kind of this sneaky, kind of like sphinx cat mink. These sketches aren't too great, but I thought she could have this a green kind of a collar or cloak or something that she keeps over her face. Maybe she's known as the hairless one or something like that. Maybe she leaves Zoe because of being ostracized by the other minks. So that was my initial concept. Here I've just got a bunch of references here. This is the point where I realized, okay, I wanted her to be a mouse slash rat mink, but I didn't know what I wanted it to look like. So I just gathered a bunch of references. I've got Wanda here, which is a great reference, in representing like the female minks, along with Carrot is another really good reference. And these other ones are kind of like images I found on Google or whatever of the traditional little like mouse warrior with the little sword and stuff. That's what I was thinking. This very small mouse mink that could do a lot of to help with infiltrating or gathering intelligence. And that's what her role is, kind of like on the crew in the end. But I thought, this little idea of this like little fantasy mouse would be a really cool idea. Next, here I've got some very early kind of like sketches of Cheddar. As you can see, I took my inspiration from those references and tried to inform it here. The large head, the kind of like still kind of keeping that kind of like scarfed cloak bit here, along with like the little boots, and then we've got this little dress here on this other sketch here as well. And I did like this for a while. Obviously it changes in the end, like you saw, but she's even got like a little sword here, which I think was a bit too big for her. But I kind of like the idea of her carrying around this sword that's slightly too big for her, that she can use, that can combine with her powers. I just want to make a quick tangent here, but I want to say a really big thank you for everybody that took part in the community character polls on the community page of the channel. I think that really helped. That was really fun. I'd love to do that again. I don't know, maybe making our own Bleach character or our own Naruto ninja, like our own community character for those series, which would be really nice after I've made like a few characters of my own. But yeah, here I've also got her kind of like curly, kind of like big, kind of almost afro looking hair here, which I do like for a while. Next up here is a little bit more of a clearer view of Cheddar. Here is when I actually decided on her name being Cheddar, as I was trying to think of an idea of like some sort of like pun with rats or mice. I don't know, I even thought about making her blind, to maybe harken back to the three blind mice of that kind of like nursery rhyme, which I think would be kind of interesting, give us some really cool observation haki, kind of like Fujitora. But I decided against it. But I just kind of like added this kind of like white fill into this sketch of the character. It makes it a little bit clearer for me. After that, we have some colour. So these are some of my initial colour designs here. Don't really have any reason as to why. I was just trying to look for colours that were complementary, because I know that the minks wear a lot of green, so I wanted to contrast that with like maybe some red and yellow. Again, tie into the yellow like her blonde hair, and then some pink in her ears. And I've always kind of like, obviously we decided on some sort of like accessories, so she's got kind of like this little what do you call it? Like earring in her ear there, which I think adds a nice little bit of kind of extra detail to the character. Here I did like another variation where she's a little bit darker, maybe has a little bit darker, more greyish fur mixed in with some blue. Here I've changed this green here to like blue, and this red has now become desaturated, and it's just ties it back a little bit, you know, instead of being so full on. Here is another kind of like iteration of that, but now it's got some shading on there, you know, just to try and see where the light's coming from and what that would look like. And I actually like both of these a lot, actually. You know, not much else to say about it. I just wanted to try different variations. I think this one is way too neon. It's way too kind of like full on, and this one's a little bit more muted. So I do definitely go more for this one, and I think I definitely changed up the pattern on the cloak here just to see what that would actually look like. And looking back on it now, the line quality isn't too great, especially on stuff like this. I've never been really good with like drawing items, you know, like swords or weapons and stuff. I'm very much character focused, so it was definitely a little bit difficult to me, and I think in the end, I think it was best just for me to remove it, because it just didn't feel right for our character. But I do still like these kind of initial concepts. I mean, let me know what you think. Should I still have stuck with this and tried to make it work, or do you like the, you know, the final artwork, you know, making it closer to characters like Wanda and Carrot? So next up here, we have like kind of more of like an accurate size of how she would be, again initially harking back to that initial concept of her being like this absolutely tiny mink that's only slightly bigger than the Tontatas, and you know, compared to other minks she would, you know, maybe feel inferior because of her small stature or her size, and maybe she can't do much, and that's maybe why she left, you know, trying to get all these different ideas out of my head. So next, here is where I decided to make the decision to change, kind of like stray away from that initial idea and go more towards an idea of, you know, like I said, Wanda and Carrot and those other mink characters. So I got some really great reference from, I can't remember what the website is. I probably mentioned it before. I'll find it in the description, but if I find it, I'll put it there and I'll put it in the description. But here you can see her proportions are changed, and they're a little bit more like lanky, and they're a little bit more kind of, again, more like the other female minks that are in the series. You know, the initial idea was really cool, you know, having her be really small, but I just didn't think it could work, not personally anyway, or maybe I personally couldn't make it work. Maybe somebody else, maybe Oda Sensei could make that work, but I personally couldn't with my skill set at the moment. But I think this pose is really nice. I found it on that website that I'll put in the description in case you guys want to check it out. But you know, I think the anatomy's just good enough here. And here I was still trying to play with the idea of the sword there, but I couldn't get it to work in the end, so I just kind of scrapped it. But I do like the pose and such. And here I was trying to figure out like, oh well, what kind of clothes would she want? Because I was trying to maybe go back to the initial idea of like this skirt, or this like kind of poofy kind of like fantasy dress, but I didn't go with it in the end. Next up here is kind of like the process of how she developed, and so kind of like drawing on top of that initial sketch there, I changed up her hair, which is like this kind of almost Sanji kind of like sweep to the side, which is nice, which is covering one of her eyes, makes it a little bit more mysterious, you know. She has this more kind of like kind of ironically kind of cat eye look here, but it didn't feel right. She felt a little bit more sexy, a little bit more kind of like, you know, she'll catch you off guard and stomp your head in. And she's got kind of this little cute curl at the top there, and her hair comes down to the back where her butt is. And here I kind of made the decision to give her kind of like these hunter boots, you know, kind of those fantasy hunter boots, and then kind of these little like red booty shorts, and this kind of a desaturated foresty green t-shirt. It's simple, but I think it kind of works for her. But in the end, I kind of changed it a little bit, as you can see over here. Here, I kind of like changed up the sketch, I think. Let me see if there's any kind of like major changes. I don't really think there's any major changes in this sketch here, but I did want to show the, you know, it with color and then the actual sketch. And then here I actually went back and looked at some of the other female minks, and I see they had these nice bright wide-eyed open kind of like circular eyes rather than these more like sleek cat eyes. This is more like Nico Robin kind of look, and then this is more of Nami look, and I wanted to have more Nami energy. And I also changed up the lines here. This has a big gap, and so I wanted to close that, and so now her head is like a little bit more round. It's a little bit cutie, you know. And here I changed it from a t-shirt to a tank top, which I think gives her a little bit more freedom. And I also changed her kind of like almost gym shorts here to these kind of like blue denim booty shorts, which I think work much better as well. And then here is the initial kind of like design where I had it all kind of the line art worked out. You know, I have some layer styles for like the kind of what the laces on the boots here, and I've got her like a little tail poking out there, and she's kind of like this pale white with kind of like this auburn hair, and then her like a t-shirt and her shorts are now kind of like brown leather pant, like leather kind of like shorts, and then kind of a desaturated green t-shirt with yellow accents, which does bring it out nicely, but I just wasn't happy enough with it. So I went back again and I made the final artwork, which I think looks so much better now. She's got some scars here on her arm, you know, she's been adventuring for a little while. She's got kind of like these little details on her like booty shots, these stitching, and then kind of like these little yellow details you see on jeans sometimes, and a little button. Her tank top has these yellow accents back, but now it's got like this spotty, splotchy texture that harkens back to the original design on like the dress that I had. Her boots here now have those, I don't know what you really call those, like laces on it, but I also added some extra laces on top to kind of like really make the boots tight, and these really feel like they're chunky boots that fit on the legs. She's got that kind of like classic Nami kind of like eye that Oda likes to do. So for his female characters, I've added her earring there, but also some additional earrings here. And then her hair kind of like swoops to the side, and I used layer styles to kind of get these extra floofs at the top here and at the sides, which makes her a little bit more animated. And I've kind of got thin lines on the inside and thick lines on the outside to give the line out a little bit more depth. You know what I mean? But yeah, she's got like a little nose that I took from Carrot. So overall, that's kind of like the entire journey from initial conception all the way to the final artwork, and it's a massive journey, but I actually really like the way that she kind of turned out here. So next I'm going to take you through her backstory, and kind of like you can see the inking and see her backstory, and as well as meet the mystery character. Okay guys, so we're going to get into kind of a Cheddar's backstory, so enjoy the speed inking while I tell you her backstory. So basically, Cheddar and her brother Wan Wan are deeply loyal to their homeland of Zo and to the Mink tribe as a whole. They feel a strong sense of duty and urge to protect themselves and their people and all the other Minks. They've always aspired to explore the world, but they believe they can't leave Zo without the guidance or presence of Nekomushi or Inarashi or Cat Viper and Dogstorm, who they see as their tribe leaders. So they patiently wait for Cat Viper and Dogstorm to return, which is quite some time. By that time, they've been practicing and kind of like fighting amongst themselves, you know, making themselves stronger, just so that Zo remains safe and that they continue to protect the island. So Cheddar and Wan Wan know that the leaders will, you know, come back at some point, because they'd always been told that they would come back. Sorry, and you know, that they would return, and that they could be less on edge, especially after the attack of Jack. And so they patiently wait, And so eventually, after the events of Wano, where Cat Viper and Dogson finally return to Zoo, having fulfilled their own important duties, Cheddar and Wan Wan feel like a tremendous weight has been lifted off their shoulders, along with all the other minks. They feel like they don't have to be on edge all the time, and they can relax a little bit now that their leaders are back, especially if kind of like Carrot comes back as well, and helps lead them as well. The siblings, feel like they can finally spread their own wings and be their own kind of people instead of being held confined or captive, or feel like they're stuck on Zone, can't do anything because they have such a deep kind of respect for everybody there, and a deep kind of like duty to protect Zone and its people. And so they bid a heartfelt farewell to their homeland and decide to go on a grand adventure for exploration and deepen their knowledge of the One Piece world, meet all sorts of different people, maybe meet some other minks that don't live on Zou, travel to different places and get even stronger, practice using their electro, and maybe even find some unique things to eat. Maybe even find some friends that they can bring back to Zou and introduce them to their friends on Zou. And so they bid a farewell, and they hope that their experiences will eventually allow them to come back with a lot of knowledge and resources that can benefit Zou. So after they set off initially, they during the travels, they eventually cross paths with the members of the Goldilocks Pirates. They walk into a bar hoping to experience something new, and they walk into this bustling, vibrant bar, and they bump into the Goldilocks Pirates. They get to talking, and they hit it off really, really well. And the meeting is serendipitous, and the crew members are drawn to both the siblings' unique abilities as minks. They haven't had a mink join their crew yet. And so they interact with the Goldilocks Pirates, and Cheddar and Wan Wan share stories of Zou and their experiences and their aspirations. The crew love them so much that they invite them to join, and that's pretty much what it is. They meet them in a bar, and they basically become best friends. They recognize the strengths and potential of both Wan Wan and Cheddar, and they extend an invitation for them to join the crew. They see that they can bring what they can bring to the team, and they're excited for the adventures that lead ahead. So basically, that's their backstory. It's not too grandiose or amazing. It's basically they just want to leave Zou and spread their wings and see what they can do, and end up meeting the Goldilocks Pirates in a pretty chilled out bar, and prove what they can do and what they can help, and use their unique abilities to help them. So that's pretty much it. It's not like I said, the most grandiose one, but it is pretty cool. So that was basically Cheddar's backstory, you know, the speed inking and the colouring, which I think looks pretty good. Her backstory, yeah, it's not the most exciting, but it is kind of interesting, a little bit more realistic, and not every backstory has to be kind of grandiose. Now, I did mention her brother Wan Wan, who is a bulldog mink. Now, he is the secret character that I was on about. He is the character I initially designed, and then I wanted to add another female character to the crew, and so Cheddar came about. And so I thought, well, instead of making them separate characters, why don't I just make them siblings and join together? And so here is Wan Wan. Now he's a big boy, and he looks a little bit more traditionally like what they wear on Zoe. You know, you have the green cloak, you have some of those hats, the belt, and then have the big swords here as well. And I actually really like his design. Now I could have re-inked him, but I actually kind of like the dynamic kind of like energy that the lines give off here. You know, it's not perfect, and it's not like what Cheddar's look like, but I think I kind of like their aesthetic, you know, and I really love his design, and I don't want to do anything to change it or take away that energy from the lines. So I'm just going to leave it as is. But what do you guys think? What do you think of Cheddar and Wan Wan's backstory? What do you think of their kind of sibling energy and their camaraderie? What do you think of them joining the crew? You know, Wan Wan does not have a double fruit. He just has electro and practices the one sword style, along with having armor and haki. And Cheddar, she does not have any kind of like weapons, but what she does have is her devil fruit, the Poki no Mi. Now, if you've been following the shorts on my YouTube channel, you'll see that I made a video on the devil fruit, the Poki no Mi. I'll have a little card up there somewhere to direct you to that. But I think that devil fruit is pretty cool for her powers. It's more about infiltration and information gathering, and I think it works better for her skill set. And obviously, I think the Gold Pirates could do with some of that. And Wan Wan there is basically just to help protect his sister, go along with her, and provide some extra muscle and another fighter to the crew. And they were more than happy to have him. So I really love his design, and I didn't want to change anything about it. He's big and chunky, and he can really pack a punch. And then Cheddar's a little bit more smaller. She has a kind of like tinier frame, but her devil fruit is really versatile and helps with traversal and helps with information gathering and sneaking around, which is really cool. So that's basically their designs. What do you think of these designs? Let me know in the comments below. So guys, that's basically Wan Wan and Cheddar, the two Mink siblings that joined the Golden Pirates. If you did like this video and you did like these characters and you want me to make more of these videos, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that cool YouTube stuff. So thanks very much for watching if you did make it to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!